As we were approaching the 20th year, we were trying to figure out what differentiates us from the rest. Is it just the ability to spend so much money, or is it more than that? So in front of you, you have the foundation, but each of the schools with its own management team, its own execution team, its own board, and above all, the equivalent of the shareholders would be the equivalent of the trust. So we set up a governance structure for what we built. To commemorate the 20th year, we are bringing transparency and public accountability. You know, when we agree to release our annual report, the annual report consists of every one of the constituent units of the foundation, whether in whatever legal form in which it exists. Such of them have been audited independently and completely. This is the first exercise of its kind in India to publish it. It also will kind of lead you on to see any equivalents in the world that exists.
We have chosen the path of creative philanthropy and focused philanthropy. Why? Because we want to create leaders. So there are other models of philanthropy which are corrective in nature, which are more mass-based, equally important and need to exist simultaneously. But this is the path that we've chosen. So if you notice that because this is the path that we've chosen, all our philanthropic initiatives are actually creation of institutions. And a lot of these might even bear actual fruit and impact after our lifetimes, after the lifetimes of the founders. So it's a very long-term haul. So even though we're celebrating 20 years of the Shiv Nadu Foundation, I think we're very young. And we have many, many generations to grow and learn.
I think the Grant Thornton report is significant, not for the balance sheet or the income and expenditure statement that it sets out. It is significant for the other metrics that it reveals. In all these institutions today, there are 7,640 students with 951 faculty and staff, 591 acres of land, and a built-up area of a mind-boggling 38 lakh square feet. It's not easy to imagine institutions of this scale. It's even less easy to build institutions of this scale. And in all these years, Mr. Shiv Nadu has stuck to two of his very dear principles, that institutions, whether they are business institutions or charitable institutions or education institutions, have to stand on two pillars, a pillar of ethics and governance. I admire the ethics that these institutions have followed. Whether they are ethical, whether they are well-governed, can only be tested on the anvil of transparency. How much are they willing to reveal? How much are they willing to share? How much they are willing to put in the public domain? And here is a report which puts out everything in the public domain and say, these are our goals, these are our values, these are our ethics, this is the model of our governance, these are our governors. You judge whether what we are doing is merit-worthy.
It is quite admirable in the manner in which these educational institutions, whether they are schools or engineering colleges or the interdisciplinary university, have been established over the years, and the way that they have been contributing to quality education in India, it's truly laudable. And I think what's unique about today's evening is the display of the transparency of the foundation and the way the money has been spent and the amount of investment that's been done for these institutions to truly grow them into institutions that will serve a great noble purpose.
I've known Shiv for a long time, and of course his success as a businessman is too well known to even refer to, but actually his contribution in the area of philanthropy was also known, but I hadn't quite realized the extent of it. So it's nice to be able to pay tribute to what you and your family have done in this very important area. He mentioned some of the numbers. Within a few years, you will have ended up spending, whether in capital expenditure or in current support of expenditure, something of the order of 6,000 crores. That was the number you mentioned. That is really impressive by any standards. And I think one just needs to look at the scale of that and simply applaud.
I did discover that much before we passed the new companies law, much before CSR became mandatory in this country, and much before it became fashionable to be doing things for others in the corporate world, this foundation has done seminal work. And I do want to congratulate Mr. Nara and his team and the family for putting together a documentation that is going to be a benchmark, I suspect, for all other corporates to follow, especially in this country.